Welcome back to an update video. As always, I'm using the Fractal theory explanation video for this, how it works, the levels, the rules, and so on and so on. I will link at the end of the video. Okay, well, then let's start with AMC. So, nothing really changed this week. Yeah, I mean, which was expected, except of two things. But it was expected. I gave AMC a little chance on Tuesday because we had a strong Monday to do something strong. But in the end, we just slowly trended up the rest of the week. Yeah, maybe we see something big tomorrow. We will see. But no real change. The two things which were pretty interesting was, first of all, the first news which even I say is bullish, and because AMC got upgraded from triple C plus to triple B minus. And for people who don't know what that is, before AMC was called a trash stock, a trash company which will go bankrupt. Shit. Now we were upgraded to triple B, so not that shit. But to make that absolutely clear, that is really the first news since 2020, which is really bullish, because this movie, we had perfect box office, blah, 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 blah. We had that so many times. Or this perfect earnings, blah, 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 blah. That really means absolutely bullshit. I will show you an example for that later, but it means nothing. But being upgraded, that is something. Yeah. And the second thing is, we had a little market crash this week. I mean, I don't think it's over, but to that later. But AMC or GME didn't fall. We were uptrending. That's something special. Okay, now to the tracking. Well, we start with the absolute bullish one. And as I said in the last videos, the only thing which is left is fucking breaking $3. To be exact, $3.04 or 3 cents. Yeah. If we do that, all the alternatives, all-time low, higher low, whatever, off the table, in my opinion. No financial advice. The only thing which is left then are two things. In the moment we're breaking $3, are we fucking gapping to a 1-part squeeze or a 2-part squeeze? If you're interested in the price targets I have, I will link the big roadmap video with my non-financial price targets at the end of the video. Or do we have to do January 20th? Yeah. What do I mean? I'm still the opinion we are in this candle here. And this here is the $3 mark. So we only have two ways if we break $3. We fucking gap and doing 1-part or 2-part. Or we breaking $3, getting a strong move, maybe even a small gap. But we would still have to do January 20 to January 22nd. This. To make that clear, this peak here, first of all, it should be quick. I would still say August with a lot of volume. And this should be around $964. Yeah. So you should be able to make money on that if we do that. Yeah. Even with the max strikes. But to make it clear, this will take some time if we do that. In that case, if we do that, the thing is, this here took us right now 125 days. If we're not breaking here and we really have to do this bullshit, yeah, even if it's only half, this will at least take you 60 days. If we're doing it 1-to-1, I would bet that this move here will bring you into January 2027. Just saying. Yeah. But otherwise, it looks good. Yeah. And of course, yeah, if you're not doing that tomorrow, I said, in the moment we're breaking 260, which we did on Tuesday, I think I said, it's unlikely, yeah, that we're doing the higher low because we are too high. I also said small pullbacks are okay. Yeah. So this bullshit here is okay. Even something like this would have been okay, or would be okay if we're not breaking tomorrow or on Monday. I don't think we're doing this because we never done this. At such a point, I think AMC will do a decision. This or the bearish version where we're talking about in a second. For levels, of course, we want to break 3. Easy. What, in my opinion, we're not allowed to do is breaking under 212. Yeah? This is bad. Yeah? So this was the bullish version. Now we come to the bearish ones. For the people who don't like that, you can click to the next stock. Yeah? The problem for the bearish version, the problem for AMC right now is we are in a perfect place for an absolutely fantastic bullish move. In my opinion, we are also in the perfect place for an absolute asshole bearish move. What do I mean? We could still reject somewhere in this range. And if we do that, yeah, and if we do, for example, something like this, if we break under the low of B, if we break under 212, I would have to sit here and say that for, let's say, 80% certainty, this would be my lower high. And this, on June 22nd, was the peak of 2026. In that case, you will bounce to your M, to your T, and the rest of the year, you will fall. You won't knife. This will take 6 months. But your target is a new all-time. And to make it clear, I don't think that. It makes for me no sense, especially with this upgrade now. It makes no sense. But breaking 212 is a start. That's a level I don't want to see. Absolute confirmation, as always, is 160. Breaking under 160 is a no-go. Yeah. The main problem here is we could even do something like this, let's say 240, and then go up again. If we then not breaking over this peak again and rejecting here, that's also confirmation that we fucking go down. Just say, yeah. AMC has to break $3 to be bullish. Otherwise, not good. Yeah. But the bull part is, in the moment, we're breaking 3. In my personal opinion, no financial advice, all these alts down here, the all-time low and so on, is off the table. Yeah. This is too high there. Doesn't matter if we're doing a 1-part, 2-part, slow squeeze, quick squeeze, doesn't matter. $3 would be a point where I have to say, perfect fucking go. Yeah. Yet now one last thing, because of my friends who are so fundamentals is everything. Yeah. Here the perfect example, MSFT Are today. Just saying, I'm bearish on MSFT Are. If you're interested, just watch the last MSFT Are update video. But look at this. That's catastrophic failure. Yeah. Minus 1000% surprise. Nothing. I mean, hello? Did someone forget to press any button? Why isn't something happening? I mean, it's fundamentals, it's earnings. It's bad. Shouldn't it knife? Or do at least something? Yeah. Same for Apple. Was a good earnings today. Yeah. I mean, green. 6% surprise. 300 million more money. I think someone pressed the wrong button today. maybe someone didn't know what is green and red, and he wanted to press green, but he pressed red. I don't want to convince anybody, but I am still convinced this here is bullshit. Yeah. Okay. But for the conclusion for AMC, fucking break $3. And we are Gucci. We checked somewhere here. Not Gucci. Yeah. Okay. No update on Beyond today because nothing changed. Yeah. Just saying, the only thing we have to do is stay over 50 cents and bounce. Yeah. Or break under 50 cents and die. But there's an update on OKLO because I got asked, is it still okay? Yeah, in my opinion, it is still okay. It came still fucking close, but that in a second. For the tracking overall, we have RV, went up to A, made a 0.5 pullback, went up to B, made the pullback. Here at 43 is our 618. We went a little bit under it. We had a little market crash this week, and OKLO followed MSFT, yeah, down 10-15%. I already answered on this question is everything under 35, and I would already get bearish. But the absolute confirmation is 28, 29. Yeah. If you fall under this is wrong and we are bearish. I would already get bearish if you break 35. But the thing is, look, this was a nice bounce. Yeah. Especially this was a 14% bounce. Just careful. Yeah. We got a really relief rally today, especially with Microsoft. We will look at that today too. Microsoft kind of saved the market for today. Yeah. So be careful. Yeah. It looks okay. As I'm always saying, if you want to play, doesn't matter. It's not only OKLO, it's on everything. If you want to play stocks, not risk-free, but safer, don't buy the V. Yeah. Or if you think it's a V, wait for the higher low. Of course, it can happen sometimes that the higher low is jumped and you don't see the higher low. Then you missed it. But there will always be a next one. For OKLO, nothing changed in the tracking. You should still come up to this main trend line, 56-ish. You still should do a higher low if we do that. And then the next target is still 81 for A and 120 for B. And then the only question is, or not the question is, after that comes, in my opinion, the break of all-time highs. No splits. That are real numbers. That's this. You could play this. I would say no financial advice. A good entry would be 48. Yeah. Because then I think the V is really already in. Or you just wait for the higher low. Then you're in the safe place. Why I am saying this? Because let's say you're waiting for the higher low. Something like this. Yeah. Your entry would be 37, 38. Yeah. Even if the higher low is not holding, you just sell at 36. That's $1 you're losing. The other way is you think, okay, that's 100%, I buy here. But what if this is already breaking down? Yeah. That's my point. That's why if you want to play it safe, always wait for the higher low to hold. You will miss some plays. I tell you that because there are some stocks with volume or so and so on, or like here. Yeah, we had here our all-time low RV. There was no higher low. It was just up, 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 up. If you would have waited here for the higher low, you would have missed it, or you would have gone in later. Yeah. On the other side, if we look at A, yeah, if you would have bought here, for example, you did the higher. And then you had the danger and the fear if you bought here, if this higher low is still holding. Because if you bought here, but this higher low isn't holding and we knife, you have a bigger difference. You know what I mean? Yeah. That's why if you want to play it safe, always wait for the higher low to play out. But overall, OKLO still looks absolutely fine. I'm still waiting. Yeah. I will play it maybe if we break 46 for this move. Yeah. But if we reject somewhere in here, I'm out of my position and waiting for the higher low. I'm not really know it how I want to play it. Maybe I really just wait for the higher low, as I said right now. Yeah. Okay. But overall, OKLO looks fantastic. Okay. Because of crash and market movements, let's look at Microsoft. And Microsoft really saved today. Yeah. Because if we didn't do this, yeah, and if Microsoft would have knifed, we would already talking about market crash today. This here is still my main track. Still. Yeah. I mean, we went higher than I expected, to make it absolutely clear. I thought that he would already have been here and we would already go down. Yeah. I played the earnings, but I played it like a pussy. I played calls and puts. Yeah. And thankfully, we had a massive run, so it paid out perfectly, but it was a 50-50 decision for me. This is still my, and that's why I didn't show it. Yeah, because it's laughable. If you sit here and say, hey, play calls and puts, yeah, that's not tracking. But this is still my main version right now. Yeah, I still think that this here is our T. Yeah, I still think we will knife down. I don't know what will happen. I mean, there's already talks that you Americans, or not you Americans, but that Trump will bomb the hell out of Iran. Yeah. Would be a good news. But I mean, in the next thing is nobody cares about this war anymore, so who knows. But tracking wise, you know, that the main problem I have with this was a 17%, 20% move, especially for blue chips. This is not sustainable, in my opinion. Yeah, we come to the alternative too, but even for the bullish tracking, I think this will come down. Just look at it. This was a massive move, which came down. This was a massive move, which came down. This was a massive move, which came out. This, yeah. And then quite everything which is so straight up here, 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 here. Let's look here, 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 here. You know what I mean? Yeah. Especially for a big blue chip. Yeah. This is not a meme stock, but I mean, the whole stock market is getting a meme stock. But even for meme stocks, everything which goes up has to go down. This is the bearish version. In that case, this was T. And in that case, your next thing is something under 349. End of story. The bullish alternative. And wait, for levels. What breaks this? What makes me wrong? And I will sit here and I will say, okay, I was wrong. Is if you go over 470. If you break 470, fuck it. Yeah. If you do that, then this was a V, not a higher low. we talked about that already. Yeah. This fucking thing is not a higher low, but it could be a V. And in that case, this is your T. In that case, if you go up from here, you don't do a higher low. Your next target is something like this, 506, breakout retest, and then you can really start going. That would be the bullish alternative if you break 470. But even for this, even if you look at Microsoft bullish, I would say you still need the higher low. And in that case, here's our V, here's our A, our B is somewhere in this squeeze, and this would be your top. Especially because today you really fighted this area. You really fighted it. You had the chance today. You didn't broke it. Yeah. And in that case, what would be our pullback target? 377. If it's not quick or not, we have to see, but this would be a pullback target for the higher low. If you bounce here, hey, bullish. If you break under this, I mean, Microsoft is not going under, but we will go down. And if you just look at how quick something like this, I mean, this is the 4-hour chart, it's that the pullbacks on Microsoft are most of the time, especially here. Here's the perfect higher low. Yeah. Even here, you did. Here's the first higher low. Yeah, look at it. You had your V. You had your small higher low. And here's your big higher low. But in both ways, you always had a quick retracement. Every time. Yeah. Here also. Yeah. Perfect. You had your V. You had a massive squeeze also, all earnings. And then you had a very quick higher low pullback. I could be wrong. I really could be. And I don't have a position. Yeah, I mean, I still have my puts because they were worthless and I didn't care about them. But they're running for next week, Friday. But way too low in my opinion, especially from here. But if you're not breaking tomorrow, I'm tempting to buy some 2 weeks outputs for this. Because Microsoft has to decide now, break to the upside or you go down. Yeah. Problem is, why I'm showing this, because I'm not interested in Microsoft tracking. It's such a big fucking chart. But you saw what bounce we got in the market. And don't say that this is all because of Microsoft, but Microsoft did a big job in this. If Microsoft is doing this, well, yeah. So let's start looking at it. We're starting for the market, VIX, SPY, and NASDAQ. Let's start with VIX. And you may be surprised. I mean, I am surprised. I really have to say that. But even with this little crash we had this week, at least for VIX, for my tracking, nothing changed. To say that again, volatility index means a bullish chart means market go down. A bearish chart on this means SPY, NASDAQ goes up. What we are looking at is April 2024 till today. We have our peak, our lower high, our midpoint. And our midpoint started at December 25 or 25th. No, 2025, so no. And in my opinion, we still didn't finish this shit. We still have to come down under 341. Yeah. We got a little crash. And if we look at just the M, if we micro track this M, then we have our peak, our lower high, our midpoint, which started here. We made a lower low here on July 10, and we went up. The previous tracking was here on July 23rd that this was our T. And I really thought and attracted that we have to go down now to $13. And then we got this little crash. And we came so fucking close. So fucking close that we would have gotten, how do you call it, market correction, in my opinion. Because if you wouldn't have stopped here, VIX would have gone up, 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 up. And my previous target was 2033. Yeah, for already getting bullish on VIX. Also, I said we have a little wiggle room here. Absolute confirmation, and this still stands, to make it absolutely clear. If VIX is going over 2332, this is not bearish anymore. This is getting bullish. And then we have a market correction, to make that absolutely clear. Market correction means 5 to 10% down. Yeah? And if we break 28, we are not talking about market correction anymore. We're talking about crash. And to make that clear, how that would look like, it would look like the Chinese market, KOSPI. Yeah, you have to imagine, since June till today, the main index crashed 44%. Yeah, here the Chinese Fed intervened and it bounced, but I would even say for this, this is not over yet. Yeah, this will go lower, in my opinion, way lower. Yeah. Normally, to make it also clear, okay, I don't have a statistic for this, but normally, maybe you know that, it starts in China, then it swaps to America, and after America crashed, it swaps to Europe. At least the last times. Yeah. But also, there's a real panic right now. Look at knife. If you zoom out, yeah, this here is April 2025. Since then, it is up 310%. This is a massive rally. Also, perfect example also for Microsoft. Everything which goes up has to come down again. Yeah. But now again, back to our VIX tracking. So, we came very close to a market correction. Very close. But if you look at that now, then we had Microsoft earnings and this bounce today. And we really fucking knifed down. We even broke this uptrend, if you not believe in fractals. Yeah, just look at that. We broke the uptrend. So, in my opinion, for this tracking, we only have two ways. We still just continue down to 3039. This is bull rally for SPY, NASDAQ, and IWM. Or we're doing our normal landmarks, which would mean we're coming down, we're coming up, making a retest here. Would be M, coming down, up T. But this is also a normal uptrending SPY and NASDAQ. This is no way bearish on the market. Yeah? But we will look at NASDAQ and SPY in a second. This is my main tracking. And I don't have an alternative for this. I don't have one. I will find, if we're going the other way, I will hopefully find one. But again, levels are levels. If we break this level again, 2088, that's fucking bullish for VIX. Nearly confirmation is 2269 and absolute confirmation is 2330. Yeah. If we do this, that's terrible for the market. Terrible. I don't know how. The only way I could track it like this would be if we reverse here and go up here, that we not even did M of the M. In that case, we would go down, up, then here would be our T and M. Yeah. But still, even if that isn't looking much, yeah, I mean, this is only what, 60%. This is market correction. This is 5, 6, 10% for SPY and NASDAQ down. Yeah. For VIX, if I only look at this chart, I just can't see it, but I can be wrong. Because of that, we start with NASDAQ. So, the thing with NASDAQ is, you will hear this from me. For SPY, I really have a problem. For NASDAQ itself, I think I already said that in the last updates too. I said I could easily see a bounce here. We went a little bit lower, to make that absolutely clear, but we still got the bounce. Okay, I was wrong nearly 2%. Okay, yeah. But for our tracking, doesn't matter if it's bullish or bearish. We have our C, We went down, we started up. This is our lower high. And this lower high finished here. This whole thing is our lower high. And the thing is, for my main tracking, I would still say this is a V. And NASDAQ should bounce now, especially if we look at the most important things in NASDAQ, because I also think that Tesla should get a bounce. Doesn't matter if bullish or bearish, it should get a bounce. For NASDAQ, the lowest point, no financial advice, for this bounce would be around 708. Yeah, this would be then our M. And then we go down. And if we break this level, M could even go up here to 734. And here comes the question. Are we rejecting here? Then it's normal. TV, yeah? Or are we breaking this and going? But if we're breaking this and we are going, how is that possible? Because where would we put our M and our T especially? And I really fight it with this today. Yeah, because I also want to know it, of course. The thing is, we just have to look at the section from October 2025 till March 2026. This whole thing just quicker, yeah, shorter, yeah, because here we had quite the same thing. We had our peak, we went down, we went up. This is our lower high, and this lower high stopped here at March 2026. This whole thing was our lower high. And then we had this small M and this tiny T. And normally, if someone is coming to me and saying, hey, what are you thinking about this? I would say bullshit. Yeah, because I hate something like this. Normally, you don't have such a big lower high and just a tiny M, tiny T. No. But we had it here. And what happened after the V? This. Yeah. So, just for science, if we take these bars patterns, yeah, these bars patterns, and put it here just to shrink it, I mean, this was a little bit higher, yeah, because it's never one-to-one, but I mean, yeah. In that case, if, then this would be our little M, this would be our little T. We wouldn't look for a higher low, and this would be just something like this. Bull rally. Buy ever. Yeah. But even if we are bearish, even if we are bearish on the market, then our next place to breakthrough or reject would be 7.8 for my opinion. And if this is breaking, 7.33. And if this is also breaking, ole. If we're rejecting somewhere here, yeah, our overall target would still be the oldest, the old wedge, yeah, would still be 633 to bounce, yeah. So M, T, V, yeah, and to make that absolutely clear, and that's really something really important. If we do that, yeah, and we are not bouncing here, if we break through this, then we will see a Chinese market. Why? Because then we really, really, really go lower. Yeah. For NASDAQ, I can do that. For SPY, it's difficult. So let's look at SPY. Yeah. And I make that absolutely clear now. I don't know. Yeah. I will work through this with you. Yeah. But I really don't know, because for SPY, I really have problems. I have good tracking for VIX. Yeah. I have good tracking, or at least 2 ways tracking for NASDAQ. For SPY, I don't have it, and it makes no sense. Main problem for SPY, we have our peak. We went down. We started going up. This whole thing is our lower high. In the case, these two candles here, June 26, we talked about it already. In the case, these two candles are real, yeah, because they are only on SPY. They are not on IWM, not on NASDAQ, not on SPX, the big brother, not on futures. They are only on SPY. So if we take them for real, this is our L, and here started M. And so this went up. This is our peak of M, and we didn't finish it. We have to go lower than 716 to finish it. Then we could micro track this M, and there it gets even worse because we have our C, because this is the highest point, a lower high, midpoint, and this thing, what we did today, would be T. In that case, from tomorrow or next week on, this thing should knife. Yeah, or at least strongly going down. Yeah. But this would also mean that VIX is fucking going up. You see my problem. This also means that NASDAQ would knife. You see the problem. For levels, yeah, if we were checked here, this is T. Everything over 746 is too high. Yeah, this is too high. And 750, way too high. Yeah. So, what, and of course, to finish this tracking, if this is our M, we have to come lower than 716. We would come up again because we still need our T. And our overall target would be same as NASDAQ, the broadening wedge from January 2026. Means right now 682, 690, 670. Also here, if we not bounce here, Chinese market. What would be the alternative? And here is the tricky point. The alternative, because I don't have any. I can't even use this because it's different to this. Yeah. The alternative would be that this whole thing, that our M is the same as NASDAQ. Just a stupid thing for SPY would be that the M and the T has to be in these two candles. They would even be smaller. It would be the same bullshit that we have a massive L and small M and T, but we don't even see the M and T. Yeah. But in that case, this would be A. No other way. And we break out from here. Yeah. Break all-time high, make a breakout retest and go. Yeah. Even more stupid, if we say these candles are wrong, yeah, because they are only on SPY. These candles aren't existing. In that case, it's even more fucked. Because in that case, this whole thing is lower high. Because we never come lower than this. And in that case, we did on July 29th, on Wednesday, already a lower low. That would be ultra bearish. So for SPY, I really have to say, I don't know it now. Yeah, NASDAQ okay, VIX okay, but SPY I don't know now. I only can give you levels. Yeah, reject here would be fucking bad. Would make sense with Microsoft. Everything over 746 is already bullish, and everything over 750 and up. Yeah, but I always said if I not certain, yeah, especially not certain in bullish or bearish, if I'm not certain on the tracking, and right now I am not certain on the tracking on SPY because this is right now bullshit, I will sit here and say that. Yeah, I won't say, yeah, we make this, and I will lie and just to look intelligent. No. I'm really unsure on SPY right now. Yeah, just say. Okay, now to two community wishes. First, SBET. I thought I already showed this because I tracked it already, but I didn't found it on the channel. So, yeah. I wouldn't touch it, to make it absolutely clear. We have our C, all-time high, lower high. Problem with this lower high, it ended here. And these candles are real. They are on all time frames. That means that this here is our M. And previously in the bullish tracking, I had it like this because the M closed here. This would have been a perfect T down to the V. We even made a higher low here. Would have been perfect. And this would have been our A. Problem with this is this pullback. Yeah. Because if we take from our V to the peak, we are under the 786. This can't be A. We are too low. We had the same problem with Beyond, for example. Yeah. No exceptions anymore. This can't be A. That's why I think this will be T. Yeah, because also normally also we did that in Beyond and it also bites us in the ass. We said this could be higher low over T. I think this will be just T. What does that mean? What does that mean? Come on. What does that mean? Well, we need a new low under $2. Yeah. Then higher low and go. Also, one important thing. We have one reverse split 1 to 2, second reverse split 1 to 3, third reverse split 1 to 2, fourth reverse split 1 to 10, and a fifth reverse split, where is it here? 1 to 12. I already talked about that in FFI. I'm still waiting for the person who is showing me one stock with so many reverse splits which came up again. Please find one. Because in that case, I think you will never, ever break this trend line again with so many reverse splits. So even if you bounce here, your maximum target is 36. Yeah. And to make that clear, I mean, how many shares do they have? 190 million. So I think you will fall. If you do another reverse split, then you maybe come up here. No financial advice. I wouldn't touch that shit, to make that clear. Maybe short it if there are options. I don't know. Don't touch it. Good. Next one is ZNOG. And ZNOG, I looked it up. The first and last time I think I tracked this was January 2026. And I was shocked that nothing changed. And I'm not saying that nothing changed on the tracking. I mean, nothing changed on the tracking, but nothing changed on the stock. This is the weekly chart. And nothing changed. We are still at the same fucking spot. Yeah. First of all, penny stock. Second, no reverse splits. Third, OTC. No volume. That's why it takes so long. And fourth is the float. 1 billion shares. That's massive. Yeah, just saying that's why nothing is moving. But for the tracking, nothing changed. I will just repeat it. Here's our all-time high in 2009. Lower high, midpoint, falling down to our T, falling to our all-time low at 2 cents or 3 cents. I still think that we're doing higher low now. Yeah. And that this here was the peak of the higher low. And to make that clear, because it's so perfectly doing its landmarks, really, for tracking, it's beautiful. I would say that we're not we maybe already did the lower high of the peak, but we didn't do T, M, or T of this lower high. So this could take years. Just saying. The run from the V to the peak took you 2 years. I would say 2 years or 4 years max minimum for the higher low. Just saying. Yeah, it's not quick. The target for the higher low would be 7 cents, 7 to 8 cents, B under A. Next target after that would be $170 for A and maybe $9 for B. No reverse split, so it's possible. This should be quicker than a pullback. Yeah. I looked it up. It's an oil company, I think. Yeah, CN Oil, which is quite strange because oil is on all-time highs for fuck's sake, and this company is still bad. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they are diluting so much. I don't know. I don't see a play here. Yeah. I don't know if you can short. I would think you can't short it because I would think there are no options. But even for shares, you're parking the money so fucking damn long for nothing. I mean, yeah, tracking looks okay. Yeah, but blah. Okay. And last one is because it was asked copper. And I already said you won't be happy with me because I already showed gold and silver. Yeah. And this is the copper futures. These things are moving very slow. This is the weekly chart. I don't know why you should play something like that, even for long holding. I also said I would see a little bounce in gold and silver. And for copper, I would say our V was here in November 2001. Then we went up to our A with a beautiful 618 pullback. Then we did little a, higher low, little b, and right now we're looking for little c, which is our big B. Yeah, but I don't have a price target for you. Yeah, it would be somewhere up here. Somewhere in here would be your peak. Yeah, same as gold and silver. Yeah, the problem is after you reach that, you are due for a B pullback, and that would be a 0.5 from this low. But even if you look at this, this could take, this is the weekly chart, this could take some time. And copper, if you look at it, you quite always do the same. You do a peak, fall back, forming a lower high, and then you fall. You do that all the time. Yeah. So the only thing you maybe could play it for the peak, wait for forming a lower high. And here comes the danger. This could be already a lower high. But it should be a definite peak. So yeah, I can't microtrack this shit. Yeah. I mean, there's no answer to this. I would say, yeah, because of my gold and silver tracking, and it's also a mineral, that we should still looking for the C, yeah, but not high. Yeah, that this somewhere around here should be the peak, and then no financial advice should come the pullback. Yeah, same as I would imagine, gold and silver should also, yeah, just for looking. Where's my silver? Here's my silver. Same tracking. Silver should get one last bounce now. This little bounce here. This would be little t, and then we should go down to 44K, yeah, for silver. And after that, there should come the bounce. And because of copper, I would say copper should do something similar. But as you also see here, this is not much. Yeah, this would be maximum 17-18%. Yeah, so I wouldn't expect much of copper. Just saying. Yeah. Okay. For all the rest, for all other stocks, yeah, just saying. Beyond only has to hold 50 cents. That is its main thing right now. Staying over 50 and bounce, perfect. Falling under, it's doing FFI, GNS move. Yeah, but for all the rest, the most surprising thing this week was, with this little market crash, that nothing broke levels. I mean, also not to the upside, but nothing crashed and nothing, oh fuck, the market crashed and it was a bad day and that's why we are bearish on this and this and this stock. Nothing. SPY and Nasdaq really knifed. Tesla also, yeah. But all our stocks, even NIO, and this is an electric car company, didn't knife really with Tesla and hold it its ground. Yeah, even AMC and GME didn't knife. They went the opposite direction. So it will get interesting. Okay, I hope that was good today. As always, tutorial video here, playlist here, big roadmap video back here. As always, if you liked it, leave a like. If you want to see more, leave an abo. And let's see what happens tomorrow. Next video hopefully will be on the weekend. We see us.